Lacrosse can best be described as hockey on grass, which is the goal of organizers. Now, boxing is a great physical workout, but another goal of the Academy is to strengthen the minds of its students. 50 rounds of golf in 50 states in 50 days. Bartlett at Chugiak in a matchup of Chugach Conference rivals tonight. Bartlett tried to remain undefeated, while the Mustangs went after their second straight win. Will make that their first win of the season. You see, Chugiak has forfeited last week's victory over Wasilla after a Mustangs player spent extra time on the field. The Alaska School Activities Association told us tonight the player took part in too many quarters during the varsity and JV games. That violated the rules. Meanwhile, senior night at Chugiak, but Bartlett played spoiler early and often. Golden Bears' first play of the game, Elijah Lear gets the ball, finds a gap, couple of nice moves. Next stop, the end zone. Bartlett up just like that, 7-0. Not done yet. On the very next series, DeMario Moore takes the handoff, gets to the outside. He's also untouched. 13-0 Golden Bears at this point. They lead 27-0 after one, 48-0 at the half. Bartlett remains perfect and the state's top-ranked team in Division I with the 73-13 blowout victory. Taking a look at other scores, Colony bounces back from last week's loss at Bartlett. The Knights hold on to beat West 24-19. It's the Eagles' third straight loss. Meanwhile, Houston picks up its fourth straight win of the season as the Hawks travel to Ketchikan and hand the Kings their first loss of the year, 22-20. Kodiak defeats Lathrop at home 20-12, while Palmer travels up north and has no trouble with North Pole. Moose rout the Patriots 43-6. And a late score just came in moments ago. Barrow takes care of Reddington 33-6. Speaking of North Pole, it looks like the Patriots will be without their head coach for a while. The Fairbanks Newsminer reports head coach Dennis DeVinny has been placed on administrative leave by the North Star Borough School District. Investigators are looking into allegations made against the coach, but have not said what they are. DeVinny is in his third season at the helm. Diamond C team lost to East Wednesday night in the Lynx' first game following a 2-week suspension, while the Anchorage School District investigates claims of abuse involving the varsity football program. The suspension also sidelined the JV and varsity teams. They return to action tomorrow also at East. JV at 9 a.m., varsity at 2 p.m. To hockey now, Anchorage's Claire DeGeorge is one of 37 players invited to the U.S. Women's National Team Evaluation Hockey Camp September 13th through the 17th in Maine. DeGeorge currently plays at Bemidji State. Bocce ball returns to the Special Olympics Alaska Sports Health and Wellness Center this weekend. It's one of two events during the annual fall tournament. Roughly 200 athletes, coaches, and volunteers from around the state will take part. Besides bocce ball, some athletes will compete in golf at the Anchorage Golf Course. The tournament wraps up on Sunday. There's a new game in town. It's physical, but the kids enjoy it. That includes young Sean Casey.
So far, it's been fun, easy, pretty hard sometimes.
Sean's among the first group of kids to play lacrosse at the Ben Boeke Ice Rink. Lacrosse can best be described as hockey on grass, which is the goal of organizers.
Bring my arm up. Rolling my wrist.
The Anchorage Hockey Association organized the month-long program to get some variety in what can be a one-dimensional sports focus for too many youngsters.
And the problem with, you get a lot of sports, people play year-round. And that's not what's needed for these kids. These kids should, for us, put their hockey sticks down and pick up a lacrosse stick, because hockey and lacrosse have so many similarities, and it's just good for these kids to unplug from hockey and try something new.
Remember, right? Maybe new, but lacrosse is similar to that other sport typically played in this arena.
You're going like this, but you're going like this to shoot.
It's fast and competitive. And Sean Casey offers one piece of advice.
If you play too much, you're gonna get pulled off sweating.
But what do you expect from the sport considered the fastest game on 2 feet? In Anchorage, Dave Leval, KTVA 11 Sports. Brandon Evans showed off a new look when he hit the mat for a wrestling match at Anchorage Christian School. He wore the new uniform of Kuskokwim Learning Academy. Evans received it just a day earlier.
Off your knees, Red.
Meanwhile, Rhett Jackson faced his opponent in a newly bought uniform. He and many teammates had no choice. Their old uniforms are gone. Flames destroyed the academy November 3rd. It had been housed in the Kilbuck building along with a K-6 UPIC immersion school. The fire destroyed everything, including the wrestling uniforms. But the building is not the only thing scarred.
And I don't know what I was going to do if we don't have school in KLA.
We had no uniforms, we had no shoes, headgear, medical kits, we didn't have anything.
ACS and other schools offered wrestling gear to the Mustangs so they could compete. Just one problem.
We couldn't keep that stuff. We were going to need stuff for this weekend, so we decided let's go shop, see if we can find stuff in town.
An Anchorage sporting goods store offered the items at a major discount.
It's just awesome how people are helping us.
Brandon Evans won his match, something he and others at his school needed after a devastating loss. Dave Leval, KTVA 11 Sports.
Diamond Lakes football right here.
Derek Brewer gets his troops ready for battle. The Lynx varsity team tackles East in its first game after a 2-week suspension. Diamond forfeited 2 games while the Anchorage School District investigates sexual assault claims against the team.
Let's go. Hey, remember, gentlemen, play smart here.
Big day for Tracy Lyons and her family. Son Tanner finally gets back out on the field.
It means everything to me. My son's a senior, and I'm excited that they're back out there.
Let's go, Diamond!
Tom Fletcher also shows his support for the Lynx, as his son Logan is Diamond's punter. The last couple of weeks have been tough for the players and their parents.
We had a situation take place, and it took way too long to let these guys come out and do what they're supposed to be able to do. So I think that was the toughest thing for kids, parents, and the school as a whole.
Don't let up, please, you know what to do.
Diamond has the support and a few highlights, plus several low points the Lynx cannot overcome as East rolls to the 47-0 victory. Still, Diamond players have something to celebrate, just being on the field, especially the seniors.
It's the pinnacle of happiness for all of us. It's just great. It's just so important to us.
Just not being able to play. I just wanted to play.
Fight!
Players show their pride even in defeat, but they also win a big battle as the season, once in doubt, continues. In Anchorage, Dave Leval, KTVA 11 Sports. Nino Delgado is good with his hands. The 19-year-old took up boxing 6 years ago.
When I was in middle school, I was getting into a lot of trouble, so my parents were looking for something to put me into to keep me busy.
Boxing filled the void and kept Delgado out of trouble. Delgado can thank the Alaska Boxing Academy. David Carey served as an alternate on the 2008 U.S. Olympic boxing team. He created the academy in 2011. It's not just about fighting. Carey also wants to teach his students a healthy lifestyle.
Before I got into boxing, I was just eating the way I wanted to eat, hanging out, doing certain things that I really didn't have any business doing.
The academy is located inside the Martial Art Alaska studio. This is where it is called home for the last 3 months.
Sometimes there's too many rivalries, We're not such a big state where we need to have there. Everybody needs to work together to make sure that we can build that community.
The studio is also the 3rd location for the academy since its creation, but it will soon have a place to call its own at the Gallo Center. Now, boxing is a great physical workout, but another goal of the academy is to strengthen the minds of its students. Tutors from UAA will come in and work with the younger students on their studies before they train.
By getting that education, by getting that diploma or that college degree, is going to help you when you get out here in the real world when the sweat dries and there's no more athletics to do, you know, you have your education to fall back on.
I probably, I don't know, probably not as good as I'm doing right now.
That finds Nino Delgado preparing for his next battle in the ring, and not in a courtroom where he fears he might have ended up without boxing. Dave Leval, KTVA 11 Sports.
I'm trying to walk everything.
Soren Jacobson wants to remember his first round of golf in Alaska. Not even a light rain and cool temperature will wash out this late Wednesday night round. It can't. There's too much at stake. Jacobson is a first-time visitor, and this is Chamber of Commerce weather.
First of all, I don't like being hot, and this makes sure that never happens.
Jacobson is on a mission. 50 rounds of golf in 50 states in 50 days to celebrate his 50th birthday. Jacobson landed at Ted Stevens International Airport just after 9 p.m. He immediately showed up at the Anchorage golf course and teed off in the state where you're more likely to see an eagle in the air than on the scoreboard. He came up with the idea in college, but for decades, this links fantasy seemed more bogey than birdie until 2 years ago. Stop number 49, appropriately, Alaska. An Idaho native, Jacobson's drive for 50 began in the Pacific Northwest.
We started in Oregon, then we sort of went down the West Coast, across the bottom of the country, up the eastern seaboard, and then back across the top.
The rounds piled up, and Jacobson began to face a challenge which affects the pros too: fatigue.
You might be able to tell looking at me right now, we're a little weary. We teed it up at 6:30 this morning in Seattle, and then traveled all day to get here.
As it usually does, the last frontier stood out. Jacobson, who works for the Idaho State Legislature, and his wife Melanie, who organized the journey, drove 48 of the 50 states for 15,000 miles, only flying to Alaska and Hawaii. The price tag for this golf dream? Roughly $35,000.
We don't have that sitting around to do this with.
But Jorgensen said friends covered much of the costs with donations. Even a few courses, including Anchorage, comped him the round.
Let's try this guy one more time.
Water posed no problem, but another hazard waited for him at the fourth green.
I don't want to bother the moose. I could hit a ball down there and we can just drive by and leave the ball and I can see where it goes. But I don't want to, the moose lives here, I'm visiting. I avoided the moose.
Is this normal moose behavior?
And why the Jacobsons chose the fastest way to the next tee as they scratched off one more state on a most extraordinary golf odyssey.